G'day folks, welcome back to another video in analysis of these three stocks, Northern Minerals, Newpeak Metals and Ionic Rare Earths. This is a request by one of my viewers, and just to, again, there's no guarantee these are going to move either way in terms of a recommendation, and we're not saying you should buy any of these. This is purely a technical review to help potential probabilities of investing in any stocks. Now, in terms of trading, we always trade in the direction of the larger time frame, so we'll be looking at that. And so if you're trading on the weekly, for example, trend, we buy on the daily, or if you're trading on the intraday, we also look at the daily trend, and I'll go through some examples of that. Step two is we buy when the CCI 150 breaks out from the moving averages, and those moving averages will be available in the description below should you wish to learn how to draw those indicators on your charting software. And step three, we close out the trade when the CCI 150 enters back into the moving average range. So first, let's look at NTU, Northern Minerals Limited, on the Australian Stock Exchange. All of these are on the ASX. But again, the principle and the method we use applies to any stock in any region. So here we're looking at the monthly, the weekly and the daily. And on the monthly, you can see there the CCI has just been drawn there. That's actually broken to the downside, giving us a bearish outlook after a massive drop back there in the early 2010s. On the weekly, that's showing it was a bullish momentum in the last few months, but notice it's broken down into the moving average range of the CCI, and that's giving us a neutral signal. And on the daily as well, that's bearish. So at the moment, it's below those moving averages, and that's giving us a bearish signal. So I wouldn't be going long until I started seeing that break higher on both the weekly and the daily to give us more confidence. I've also drawn these red and blue arrows indicating long or short positions, and as you can see there on the weekly, it is still bullish based on those arrows. But again, just be mindful it's neutral because it's in that moving average range. I'd like to see it break above that moving average range, and on the daily, I'd like to see this break higher above these moving averages to give us a bullish signal, in which case we'll see a couple of bullish or blue candles show up. At the moment it's bearish, hence by the indicator, but also by these arrows. Now if I go to the hourly chart, we also look at the hourly. Even if we're trading on the daily, I'd like to look at the hourly chart, just give us any idea of any divergence. So where that peak happened back here, for example, if you were going long, you would have been wise to follow the hourly chart, and that gave you an early warning signal. You can see there we're showing a bearish divergence versus higher highs on the price, and that told you to probably close out the position and take your profits. The price eventually fell. Now we would have drawn a Fibonacci between that low and that high. Let me just draw it for those new to the channel. So we normally would have anticipated a drop at the very minimum between the 23 and the 38% level in that range there. And as you can see, it's fallen well below that and gone well beyond 100% level. So sometimes we don't normally trade these divergence, but we use it as an exit signal. So if you're going long during this period and you're watching the hourly chart as well as the daily, you would have been wise, if you had just seen those peaks drop on the CCI versus higher highs on the price, you would have been wise to take your profits off the table. If you're a regular follower of my videos, you know I don't look at fundamentals too much. What I do look at is dividend payment. As you can see here, there's no dividend paid for NTU, and also we look at volume. That's very important. Now here the average volume is 4.3 million. So what we look at as well, going back to the daily chart, what I've got down here is the volume indicator. So if I maximize that, you can see there the average volume was about 4 million. So that would have been around that area there. Now this is actually, some days it's better, some days it's worse than that 4 million average. But you want to make sure you've got enough volume to buy or exit your stocks should the price go against you. Next, we look at IXR, Ionic Rare Earths Metals, again from the ASX. There is no CCI showing up on the monthly, although it looks like it's a bearish outlook so far on the price. On the weekly, it's also been pretty strongly bearish on both the CCI as well as the price movement. And again, there's no bullish arrows. The last arrow was a bearish arrow, and that's showing a decline. Likewise on the daily, it's a small break to the upside on the CCI, but again we need to see it break above the moving averages of the price chart to be more confident. But as you can see, there are no bullish arrows, only the last one was a bearish arrow back there. But we do have a, if I see there, you've got a higher lows on the CCI versus lower lows on the price. So we might see a bit of a bounce. And again, if I was going to draw let me just maximize that. If I was going to draw a Fibonacci retracement minimum, assuming it starts rising from there, of course it could fall further. I'd take it back to that high, and I'd expect it to reach in that range between the 23 and the 38% level, which is about, it's hard to draw there, but just about there. Let's draw that one. So we expect it to reach that level at least in the coming days, assuming it bounces from there. So I'd like to see this break higher on the daily, but also break above this moving average range, which according to the bullish divergence that should happen, again, assuming it breaks higher from today. This could, of course, keep dropping, and that could actually, the CCI could actually drop further, and that would invalidate this divergence. Going to the hourly chart, using the daily as a reference. Again, well, let's look at for any divergence. You can see there I got that same bullish divergence. So if I draw that from those peaks there on the hourly, with that corresponding level there, you can see there are slightly higher lows on the CCI versus lower lows on the price. Now, again, I wouldn't be buying the stock based on that. I'd like to see the daily as well break to the upside. So again, looking at Yahoo Finance for IXR, there's no dividend paid. And again, the volume showing an average volume of 7.3 million approximately. So again, going back to the chart. So on the daily, looking at the volume, let's maximize that. You can see it's 7.3 million. It's about that area there. So you can see there a lot of the days are below that 7.3, and a few of them are above that 7.3 average. So again, you want to make sure if you're going to buy any of these, you've got enough volume to not only buy but also sell should you want to exit the stock. So this is NPM, Newpeak Metals. Again, not much to say about this one. It's trading at around 2 to 3 cents, or 2 to 3 cents, and the monthly is showing no indicator on the CCI. There is a couple of moving averages on the price chart on the weekly, but also the daily. And it's hard to tell if it's actually broken as a bullish momentum, so it's very difficult to tell in this one. I don't like trading, again, because I use technical analysis on my trading strategy. I like to see a bit of history and a bit of some technical indicators showing to actually be confident about buying, which improves the probability of success. This one's giving me very little to go on. And if I go to the hourly and daily chart, there's a daily chart again. Again, not much in terms of indicators, with the exception of this moving average. And on the hourly, it's giving me nothing in terms of data. So again, on Yahoo Finance for Newpeak Metals, again, trading at just under around 2 cents. The average volume is about 600,000. So that's giving us, again, depending on how much you invested. So what I want to show you now, this is the summary of the 3 stocks. So assuming we invested $5,000 in each one, I'm showing you here the price per share. So for IXR, let's look at that first. IXR is showing as 1 cent per share currently trading. And if you invest $5,000, say, and I'm just using it as an arbitrary amount, you can invest. I'm not suggesting you do that. I'm just giving you an example. You need to at least then buy 500,000 shares. Now, according to Yahoo, the average volume is about 7.3 million. So that theoretically is sufficient for you to buy. And if that jumps up by a few cents and you want to gain some profits, then you theoretically can sell it. So that's a slight tick, if you like. But again, I'm not telling you to buy that based on that logic. NTU, again, to invest 5,000, the average price is about 3 cents at the moment. You'd need to buy 166,000 shares, and that's trading on average, according to Yahoo volume, average as 4.3 million. And for NPM, again, the charts were showing no data in terms of indicators. And again, if you're to invest $5,000 at 3 cents per share, you'd need to invest about $166,000 as well. So hopefully that's been helpful. Now, I don't trade highly speculative stocks. If you're going to invest, I'd suggest you invest, the amount you can afford to lose. So again, I'm using 5,000 here as an example. But let's say you could afford to lose $1,000 for each of these, then you'd want to rearrange the investment amounts to do so. Again, I'd like to see more technical indicators to improve my probability. I'm not a big fan of, not a fan, I shouldn't say that. I actually support fundamental analysis, but I'm not a huge haven't got much time to to invest in reading too much on the fundamentals, because you can read quite a lot. There is quite a bit to learn from fundamentals. I'm not saying it's useless. It's very important, but again, technical indicators are easier to follow and track, and I use those for my probability. And I like to make sure they pay dividends, the shares I buy, and there's obviously enough volume, and typically they're blue chip shares that I invest in. But again, this was a request by one of the users to try and do it justice in terms of him or her investing in these stocks. Hopefully that's been of value to you. Feel free to like and subscribe. Let me know what you think, any other requests you may have, and I'll see you in a future video. Thanks for watching.